Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And today I'm reviewing a film that is going to be out in theaters soon, but I was able to get some early access to it. And the movie that I'm referring to is the 2025 film The Home, directed and co-written by James DeMonaco. Now, the way that I was able to get some early access to this film is because AMC was doing their Scream Unseen, which, if you don't know what this is, every few months they'll actually have a mystery horror movie, meaning that when you go to see it, you have no idea what movie it is that you're actually going to watch other than what the rating is. And I love this concept. I think it's a really fun and interesting thing to do. And that's how I ended up watching this film. So The Home was a film I was planning on going to see, but I didn't know how much of an interest I was actually going to have in it. And it ended up being better than I thought it was going to be. The main star of this film is Pete Davidson, and he plays the character of Max. Now, Max grew up in a foster family, and unfortunately, his brother Luke actually ended up taking his own life when Max was only about 11 years old. This caused him to go into a downward spiral and become a bit of a troublemaker for his family. We then jump ahead to Max being an adult, and unfortunately, he has still been a delinquent this entire time and just recently got caught by the police. Now, his foster father has made a deal with the police that he won't have to do any jail time, but he will have to do some community service as a super for a retirement home. At first, Max is very reluctant to do this position, but it turns out that the residents there are actually pretty welcoming to him. Now, at first, things seem okay, but over time it appears that the actual staff members are hiding some sort of secret. Now, Max could probably let some secrets go and everything, but the issue is he's started to build a friendship with some of the residents at this home. And it appears that they are being harmed or somehow experimented on in some weird way, and so Max has now taken it upon himself to figure out what's going on and help out these residents. So I'm not going to say more than that about the plot, as this does end up being very interesting and goes in a way that I was not expecting whatsoever. If earlier this year you watched the movie The Rule of Jenny Penn, you might think this is something similar, but it's actually not at all. They're very different movies, and I'm not sure which one I enjoyed more than the other. This film is definitely part horror, part mystery, as we follow Max on his journey of trying to figure out what's actually going on. Now, I will say it becomes very kind of convoluted about midway through the film, but trust me, stick it out because it does actually get unfolded, and like I said, it ends up being really interesting. I also want to applaud the performance of Pete Davidson. He actually did a great job in this because normally, at least in my own opinion, whether he's supposed to be like the main character or a good guy or a bad guy, Pete almost always kind of has like an asshole feel about his characters, but I like that in this film he does come off as an actually good guy. So it got me more invested in what he was doing in this film. It was also nice to see a couple of familiar faces when it came to actors. There's a couple of people you'll see in here that you may not have seen in many other things, or one of those types of actors where it's just like, I recognize that face. Additionally, I do also want to mention some trigger warnings with this film. As you can instantly tell from the poster, there is obviously going to be some eye damage, or at least stuff relating to eyes, so I know that can freak people out. And number two, there is elder abuse in the movie. So when it comes to The Home, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. If you do have an opportunity to see it in theaters once it is available, I do recommend checking it out. Now, if you've already seen it at the Scream Unseen, or if you're watching this video after the movie already came out, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Skewed Reviews. And always feel free to let me know if there's any other movies coming to theaters that you think that I should watch and do a review for. Go ahead and mention them in the comments.